Many college students nowadays are being incompetent when it comes to English vocabulary. The language English is the most commonly used mode of speaking, and being fluent with the language is a factor that makes us more competent as we struggle later on in our lives.
As we reach the time that we have to work and be one with the economy, let us try to find out how is the vocabulary of the college students and why are their vocabulary like that, and also how they were built up and more.
Adjacent or something two particular lines or that is not opposite but both in the same direction or something. I really don't know, but blasphemy in the form of a religious act that could make something bad about God or something. Norm are the standards, the usual thing that a person should do. Or yeah. Paragon, I don't have an idea for the paragon, and for vindicate. Give your opinion about having a separate subject for English vocabulary. Is it that needed? At what level should this start? So, my opinion on having this subject, English vocabulary, is very important for us Filipinos having this language as our second language. In the Philippines, that we have our bilingual country. So, if we need to be competitive in other countries, we need to have this vocabulary learning. Even me, even I, having a hard time in picking up some vocabulary words, especially this definitions of meaning. And it's really important. At what level? Probably grade 1. We should start. But regarding that, usually in the preschool period, children should learn first our own language. Then after 3 years of preschool, then grade 1, we should also learn the English language. So overall, this is very important.
Yung adjacent, parang ibig sabihin niya yung katapat. Tapos yung blaspheme, hindi ko alam. Norm, parang types. Paragon, yung parang high model, yung ginagaya. Yung kilala, yung parang modelo sa isang field. Vindicate, di ko din alam. Tapos, having a separate subject for English vocabulary, parang sa tingin ko hindi naman kailangan kasi meron namang words na pwedeng i-substitute dun sa mga malalalim na words. Parang ngayon kasi kailangan simple lang lahat para mas madaling maintindihan. So, kung meron namang mas simple, ba't pa kailangan gamitin yung mahirap? So, sa tingin ko hindi na kailangan magkaroon ng separate subject for...
Alam lang namin dito, adjacent, norm, tsaka vindicate. So, yung adjacent, ang alam ko sa adjacent, magkasunod. So, for example, kami nila, he's adjacent to me. So, or yung his house, his house is adjacent to ours. So, yun yung alam ko sa adjacent.
Yung norm naman, alam ko yun yung parang standard. Norm na, ano yun sa sociology?
O, parang sa,
May,
sa,
ano pa?
yung last na alam namin, vindicate. Parang you have an assurance na before kunyari you're going to a competition and then you want parang you have assurance na you know that you're gonna win and then you won nga that competition, so you feel vindicated. So yun yung vindicate.
Yeah.
So yung opinion namin for having a subject, another separate subject for English vocab, is it needed and what level should it start? Siguro, oo rin. Kasi it's hard to communicate with other countries na, kasi na, especially first world countries, if you don't have better vocabulary than that. We don't understand them. Lesser yung communication skills natin with them. So it would be hard to communicate with them. So it would be better siguro if we had a separate English vocabulary subject. Yun lang. And in what level, siguro...
Siyempre, ano pa lang, bata pa.
Oo. At At saka, hindi naman kailangan ganun ka-major yung
School.
Hindi, gano'n ka-intense siguro yung sinabi.
What the?
Sorry.
Wala ko ba?
Siguro yung hindi naman ganun kataas. Hindi naman kailangan ganun kataas.
Day. I'm Miss Rochelle Ann Reyes, and I am an English teacher here in Siena College, Quezon City, and I'm teaching third year. The topic is about speaking English, right? Some Filipino students, if I'm going to consider, based on my observation, have difficulty in speaking the language or this language. Maybe because English is our second language and we are not native speakers of English. We're just second language speakers of English. But it is but right for us to be also fluent in speaking English because according to our constitution, first language, Filipino, second language, English. Students must understand that idea. So they will be encouraged to speak also and be communicative in speaking English. Regarding fluency in school, not all students are capable to speak English. But still, we can't really promote 100%. I mean, this kind of atmosphere that everybody will speak in English. Maybe one factor or one big factor is the influence of media. Media actually is very different compared before. Movies, TV shows, even songs, they are not really following the correct grammar. So when a student is very fond of watching the show and that show caters some grammatical errors or maybe gives the audience errors when it comes to the lines that they are throwing with each other when it comes to their act. Right? Of course, if I am the avid fan of that show, I will be influenced. So when I speak, I will imitate what they have said. Right? And that is the start of the problem, I guess. So there are a lot of factors to consider. That's why being an English teacher, it's a bit challenging now to really promote this kind of idea that you, Filipino students, all of us should have this skill. We should also be fluent, not only Filipino, but also in English. Regarding English vocabulary, as a subject or a separate subject, for me, it's not appropriate to have a separate subject strictly for vocabulary because vocabulary should be integrated with other aspects of English. Learning English, especially the macro skills. We know that the four macro skills are in English are listening, speaking, writing, and reading. So English vocabulary must be taught in this way. It must be integrated with the four macro skills. And English vocabulary should always be with other lessons, or should always be integrated. It's not a matter of, okay, class will be having a vocabulary, define this, define that. No, it's not. Students will not learn in that way. They will forget those words. Instead, you must do some strategies like context clues or use games for them to remember the word. And there is this idea in English that a person cannot claim a word unless that word is being used by this person for many times. It's not enough to use one word at once. It must be used more than 8 or maybe more than 8. Okay, for that person to claim that that word is part of his or her vocabulary. So it must be used all the time. So that's one thing. So I do not agree rather to the idea that English vocabulary should be a separate subject. It should be integrated with the lesson all the time. And with the lesson. or before the teacher starts the lesson, vocabulary must be taught. I mean, it's always part of the reading, it's always part of speaking also. And it should also be part of other aspects of the lesson.